Hello, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's stream, folks. I hope everyone's doing well. Lots of people in chat, so first thing I'm going to do is just call out to Vogon PT. Thank you very much for the 2-month subscription, saying woot. Woot indeed. Who was first today? Acidic Pure was first, so well done, dude. We've got Pingu here as well. Satanicist, Undercover Brother, Pub Goku, Karcher, Depleted Vespine, Piturko. We'll be looking at your board in just 1 second. Who else have we got? We've got me. I've been posting in chat as well. Hui, Push is here. Pusher. J-Con as well. Good evening, folks. Oh, the lovely Yulia's here in chat as well. Good evening, Yulia. Check out my keyboard, guys. It's just up here somewhere. mykeyboard.eu. Pilot XJ's here. George is here. Bot pinged already. Yeah, I think the bot has pinged actually. Yes, the bot has pinged. Cool. T-Zark as well, and Daj is here too. So welcome, folks. I hope everything's okay today. I have got new camera equipment going, so thanks to Querdenker who pointed out the supremacy of his system compared to mine. Of course, I had to keep up, and I had to go and buy a ton of stuff, so I did. And then I spent all day yesterday fiddling with wires and replugging things back in. So if anything looks quite off or anything like that, or if the timing looks a little bit off, then just let me know. The way my old system used to work is that the camera had a delay processing into the computer, so I had to delay both the face cam and the audio to match the overhead cam, so that when I moved my arm up, it moved in time. So if I went like this with my finger, you saw them bending in time. The new capture card I've got and new cables and everything else, they now mean that everything happens in sync anyway, so it should be a lot better from that perspective, and less for me to mess around with. I've also bought a new mic, so it is exactly the same mic as the old one, but I've replaced that, and it looks like it was the mic that was a problem with the sound. So it looks like the sound is now significantly louder. You guys tell me. But nothing else has changed other than the fact that I changed the cable and the microphone. So hopefully that's fixed those as well. Let's catch up with chat, see what you guys are talking about. Jay says, does anyone know how many JO1 raffle tickets have been bought? 1,668 at the last count. 1,668 at the last count. So lots, basically. I'm hoping we'll hit the 2,000 mark. We have got just under a week left, so it finishes just over a week left. Sorry, finishes on the 23rd is when it closes, so it'll be around midday on the 23rd when Mike closes that. Tickets are just $5 each. Whether you win the board or not, you're donating to a great charity. They look after people who are in their final days and hours of life and provide them really meaningful hospice care, which is really nice. and you can access that on Novel Keys. It's down here in the bottom corner somewhere. Go check it out on Novel Keys. Just over a week left. Let's hit 2,000 tickets, and yeah, hopefully we'll raise a ton of money. Depleted Vespine saying it is louder. Sound is great now. Good. It's actually going well into the red and past the red on the on my stream settings, so hopefully it's not too loud. The City at Night says thanks to Socialite. Oh, Socialite gifted a tier 1 sub to Pingu. There you go. Thank you very much, Socialite, for the gift sub. Hui gifted 2 subs as well. 2 in this channel. Jeff Leopard says, "Hey, Mr. Handsome Hands, you come here often." Oof. Handsome hands. I've got the least handsome hands in the world. I've got massive square palms and then short stubby fingers, and at the minute I've also got quite bad eczema on these 2 fingers. I'm not sure if you can see that, but they're quite sore. I've been, as well as doing all the stuff in here today with the audio and the visuals, I've also been decorating in house, building some new storage for just off screen here for Prototypist, my new website, because I've got a ton of stuff to store and I needed more storage. Where he gifted a tier 1 sub to Visionaire X as well, and Pusher. That's 5 emotes shared too. Daft Prophet subscribed for 3 months. Daft Prophet, I've not seen you for ages. Very glad to have you on stream. And Socialite subscribed with Twitch Prime as well and said subathon. Oh gosh, don't make me do a subathon on a Sunday night before work on a Monday. Please no, but we would like to do one. A little loud IMO. I can quiet it down a little bit. Okay, I've taken it down just a touch. I might take the edge off. The audio is so weird. Is that because it's loud, Pink Roy, and not quiet? I don't know. I have you put to low at the minute and sounds loud and good. Good. Stop showing them off. I can confirm they're great hands for a massage. Well, only you know that. Only you know that. Do you know if it's possible to get a Keycult in ISO? So Bliss Terror, yes it is, but it needs some work. So what you have to do first of all is buy one of 2 Keycult boards. You either need to buy an original Type Machina number 1 that will support ISO straight out of the box. Those are no longer available and they command a hefty price on the aftermarket, so it's difficult to get hold of one. The second option you have is to buy a number 2. So one of the latest number 2s. You can buy any of them, it doesn't matter which one. You can commission one, whatever feels best. If you get a number 2, you then need to do 2 more things. One is buy one of the Honeyboard PCBs, the H87A. And then you need to snip off the USB port and solder on a JST connector. Once you've done that, you'll then need to take the plate file from Keycult's website and you'll need to order an ISO plate, which means you'll have to adjust the plate yourself, or if you reach out to James, who's Satanicist in chat, he might be able to do it for you. But you need to adjust the plate, and then once you've adjusted the plate, have one cut with whatever material you like. Then if you use that plate, the PCB that you've amended from Heine, and the original case from the number 2 and the daughter board from the number 2, you can have an ISO number 2. It is something I'm interested in, as you can tell. I've done some research here, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to build one at some point in the near future if I can get my hands on one. So there we go. That's possible. Depleted Vespine says, at least yours are square. Yes, I have square palms. Yes, really square palms. They're great for holding on to tools and stuff, but not so much typing. Jeff Leopard actually says, you could probably lower the mic gain a little. Okay, I can do that. Let me just have a look at the mic. Properties, filters. Where's the filters? There we go. Let me just nudge the mic gain down. So if I put it on 3, there we go. That's well 4. That's on 4, -4. There you go. Pub Goku, sorry, I want to correct you on that. Wilbur is working on a PCB, yes, but if you want one right now, the way I mentioned is the only way to do it. Faithful, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime subscription. Thank you very much. Good day to you all, says existentially yours. Good evening, good sir. James says happy to help. Satanicist, nice. Damage Point, subscribe with Twitch Prime. Subscribe for 9 months. Wow, this is amazing, guys. There's lots of subs today. Thank you very much, folks. Hui says, I'm currently dealing with the issue for the number 160. You can't... Oh, what issues have you got, Hui? If you mean ISO, you can't get them ISO at the minute. There's no PCB that supports it yet. But hopefully soon. Now it's too quiet. Was better before. Oh, gosh, let me put the volume back up. I think Jaycon's just winding me up, though. There we go. The Twitcher says a key stream. Yes, we'll have 2 keyboards on stream today, apart from this one here, not counting this one. Depleted Vespine, I've been bearded myself since before it was cool. I haven't shaved this off in 17 years, I think, so I've had a beard for a long time. Looking for a PCB and getting a plate cut. Well, plate I can help you with, that's no problem at all. I'll be doing a carbon fibre group buy in January, so just watch out for that. PCB, interestingly, the JO2 PCB will work with the number 160, I think, when the JO2 comes out, so let me confirm on that shortly. Fancied another name change. AKB James. There we go. That's better. We know who you are now. We know who you are. Okay, guys. So without much further ado, I am going to unbox the first board today, and this is from Potoko at MTB. So you guys might have seen Brian's build of one of these a short while ago, but this is the Honeyboard 60. Now the first thing I want to do is show you the plate that came with the board. So this is the aluminium plate, which is kind of a brushed aluminium in black. It is universal, and that was a standard plate that came with it. I actually had one made up for this board myself, which is carbon fibre, so I'm just going to unwrap this now and we'll have a look at it. I haven't actually opened this. This is how it came from the factory, so I haven't actually seen what this looks like at the minute. Make sure it's all okay. Meistergrin Seppo, thank you very much. 1 year soon, yeah, 10 months. That's awesome, dude. Let's see that corn. Yeah, the unicorn will be soon. JCF is the best CF. Well, I'm not the only person that uses this manufacturer, so there are others. Let me just get rid of that rubbish. Okay, so here we go, you guys. You can see that this is... Gosh, let me mute that. There you go. So you can see that this is a fixed ISO plate. It's got all the same cutouts and everything else. Now, I haven't compared it to this one yet, so I'm hoping that everything lines up in terms of the mounting on the board. So there we go. You can see that that does indeed all line up in terms of the mounting points on the outside. The one thing I do notice is that there's only 2 screw points that line up, which are these 2 here. The ones in the corners, they are missing from the plates. I'm not sure if that's us that's missed them, James, or if we need to look at that, but everything else looks like it will work just fine from that perspective. If those are needed to be drilled, I can just mark them on here and drill them through. It'll be a 2-minute job, but there we go. So when I build this board, I will be building with a carbon fibre plate because that's my favourite, but there we go. The next thing I want to show you is that it comes with all of the tools that you need to actually use it. So it comes with some rubber O-rings. I'll show you these a little bit closer. There we go, some rubber O-rings. You get an Allen key, or a hex key, whichever you call it. And then you also get all of the required hardware and bolts as well. But then here is the pièce de résistance. This is the board. So, any guesses what colour this is? Can anyone guess what colour this might be? I have taken it out of the box. The box did get wet in transit, so I didn't want it leaving in the box for too long. But yes, this is one of the gold ones. And just let me show you how glorious this colour is. Because looking at it through this just does not do this anodization justice. But just look, this is like opening the golden ticket. Look at that. It's just like opening every gift you could possibly want at Christmas. But I was so impressed when I opened this. How beautiful does that look? It's just a fingerprint there. This is some of the really, really nicest anodization that I've ever seen. It is so smooth, it is unbelievable. If you look carefully, it does have a brushed effect to it. I'm not sure how well that will show off under the streamlights, but you might just be able to see it as a horizontal brushed effect on it, which is just absolutely lovely. Still in the base you can see some of the machine marks, which I really like that. I think it adds to the honeycomb look. We'll be changing out this plate, as I mentioned before. Turning it over, again the metal's really cold. There you go, you can see this brushed effect in much greater detail going across the board. But this anodization is so smooth, it's glossy, it's almost like car paint, it's absolutely lovely. So yeah. I did notice on the board as well there is 3 dark spots. I don't know if you can see that just here. Now they only show up in certain lights. If I angle it at certain positions you can't see them. I'm not quite sure what's caused those, but there is 3 of them. I'm not quite sure what's caused those, but there we are, they are there. How beautiful is that? I can't wait to build this up. It will be after Christmas now before I build it. But I'm dead excited to build that board because I think it looks absolutely beautiful. And yes, someone mentioned, did I have Chocolatier? I do have Chocolatier Undercover Brother. So GMK Chocolatier is the set that's going to go on this board. GMK Phantom? No, Chocolatier I think is going to work a little bit nicer. We'll see, we'll see. That's a major oof from me. It's really, really nice. The board is lovely. Yeah, I just as I say, the only issue I can find with the board at all is just those 3 marks there. There's nothing else, you know, on the board anywhere that is a worry or cause for concern. You should make a PCB-based advent calendar where each door opens a new switch. Well, speaking of calendars, if you go to prototypist.net, my new website, then you can actually buy a keyboard calendar. It's not an advent calendar, but it is a keyboard calendar that you can buy, so please do go check that out. Chocolatier is definitely the right call. Right, I think the Chocolatier on this is going to look absolutely fantastic. So I'll be building this after Christmas, probably the first week back after Christmas, I think. It'll be with GMK Chocolatier, and yeah, I think it's going to look amazing. And we'll see how it sounds with that carbon fibre plate as well, because I'm really interested to see how that will sound on the board. But yeah, dead excited. And Pitoko, I think you are watching. If you are, your carbon fibre plate is on its way, so I hope you get that soon. If you have any problems with it, do let me know. It may just need drilling in these corners, because I think these points have just been missed off the file, so it may just need those marking on and drilling, but it should be dead easy to just line it up, mark them, and then drill. It'll take 2 minutes to do. So there we go. Okay. Hoping that stays nicely stood up there. There we go. Okay, cool. So I'll just catch up with chat and see if anyone else has got anything to say. Chocolatier is definitely the right call. Chocolatier will be amazing. Can you just lay it down there? It's giving me his eyes. It's actually resting against part of the bookcase at the back, so it's fine. Don't worry, it's not going to fall over. Only the plates are loose, but everything else is fine. It's not going to go anywhere. Even if I bang on the desk, it won't go anywhere. So it's nice and visible there, though. Enemy's friend is here saying heyo. Good evening. I did want to show you Mizu today as well, because Mizu has arrived, but I have put it down somewhere, and in all of the movement and decorating and everything else today, I can't find it. So yes, I can't show you Mizu on stream. I'll probably have it ready for Thursday during mail call, and if not, it'll definitely be on build stream next week, which will likely be the last build stream of this year. So yeah, well, I was sorting through all my GM cases. I'm not sure if you can see, but over here, I'm not sure how well you can see, but basically there's like, I don't know, 60 or 70 GMK sets just stacked up over here now. They take up a whole unit and they go 2 deep back, and God knows what else. So all that area is tidy. This area that you can't see here, just off camera, just this way, right mess. Just imagine having so much keyboard stuff that completely misplacing something. Yeah, it happens a lot in my office. It's a small room. It's only 4 meters wide by 4 meters deep, so it's a nice big square. But yeah, stuff goes missing, and I find it difficult to find stuff all the time. Mastrop just found a bunch of Triumph Adler kits abandoned in their warehouse. Well, I'd like to have one of those. Singapore says, did you know that Steve Jobs died of ligma? Yes, apparently so. Cool, okay, so without much further ado, we will get on to the Singer. First thing I want to show you is that we will be building this with a carbon fibre plate. So I had this one made up based on the original Unicorn file, keeping the TGR logo here. Not sure how well that'll show up. You might be able to see that there, maybe not. There you go, that's it. You see that TGR logo there. But fixed ISO. So basically this is going to be a Sangam bottom row, 7U spacebar, fixed stepped caps, fixed full-size backspace, fixed ISO, and fixed split left shift as well. So it's completely fixed. There's no amending it. It's going to be an interesting build. It should be quite easy. In terms of switches, we're going to be using... Well, in terms of stabilisers, we're going to be using pink Everglide stabilisers. And then in terms of switches, we're going to be using red inks. Now these have been lubed with 205 grade 0, and they have been spring swapped to 72 grams by Sprit. So they feel nice, they sound nice, they're good. It's a unicorn made by Singer. So Singer is the company that makes it. Yes, it's a Singer unicorn. Singer is the company that makes it. Singer keyboards, which made the Singer 75, and the unicorn is just one of theirs. And it was made in conjunction with TGR, which is why it's got the TGR logo here. So that is the TGR logo just there. So there we go. Is it true that Gateron inks have inconsistent QC? I think that's all being fixed now. These are from the very original batch of coloured inks, and there's no loose stems and no loose leaves in here. I have heard that some people have had problems with loose leaves in batches after the first or second batch, and that's now been fixed going forward as well. Where do I get my plates cut? I have a manufacturer that I'm friendly with in China that does all my carbon fibre manufacturing. They produce them en masse for me when I put in a group buy order, ship all of them to me, and then I ship them out to the people that join the group buy. Okay, so that's how we're going to build the board today. And then in terms of the board itself, I did unbox this on stream last week. So guys who watched last week, you have already seen this. The first thing we have is 2 PCBs. So I've only tested the top one, so I won't be using this one. And then under here we have the gasket. I have some additional screws and some bump-ons. And then I do have 2 plates in here as well. Now, as you can see, I've already got the carbon fibre one, so I'm going to be going with that rather than these ones because these are universal, so I don't want to be using those. And then here is the board. So this is the velvet version of the board, but it's kind of almost a dusty pink, which is really, really nice. So just for comparison, that's the velvet that TGR ran previously, and as you can see, it is a very different colour now, but it is still absolutely stunning as this colour. So here is the board itself. As you can see, it is tray mount. Now I'm just going to go with pressure fit from the gasket. I'm not going to screw the board in. I'm just going to use pressure fit from the gasket to hold it in place. But it is really rather nice. And here's the Singer weight on the base with some bits of dust on there, so I'm just going to get those off. There you go, you can see guys, this lovely unicorn weight, Singer logo down in this bottom corner, TGR logo here. Really big fan of that. Show you the brass in the real light up here. See how it goes golden, there you go. So one of the nicest looking boards I have. The anodization on this is really nice and smooth as well. It's not shining like we saw on the Honeyboard, it's quite matte, but it is really, really nice. I can't find any imperfections at all on this case, not one. So, yeah. Meister Green Seppo says, I don't have those holes in the middle. These holes are to push the weight out. So if you, because everything's suctioned in, the way that you get it out is you turn it over, you take the weight off, and then you push through those to push the PCB out. So there we go. Oh, the screw holes. So these are for the weight. So that's for the weight, and that's for the weight as well. So to remove those if you need to, and then you've got the 4 screws that go in the corners of the weight on the outside as well. And these are on all of them. These are just the mount points for the tray mount system. So there we go. Midas prefers the split that was built the other day, and that's fine, man. You don't have to like all of the keyboard cases that we build. I'm really rather partial to this. In terms of keycaps, we have got 2 choices. I'll let chat pick, so don't pick now, but you can have a think about it. We've either got the old Dolch keycaps, so we've got GMK Dolch, which is, I think it's the Kakan set, I think, off the top of my head. If not, we've got 9009, so I'll let you guys pick and choose which you would like to see. Isn't there an imperfection on the left hand side? No, so what I thought was an imperfection isn't actually. So there was a load of dust and dirt on this one. When I've given it a wipe down with some wet wipes, it's kind of cleaned it all off. So yeah, Dolch mods and 9009 alphas. It ain't Dolch isn't the answer. Fair enough. I'm not mixing and matching the sets. It's either one or the other. We'll do a bit of a vote towards the end when we've built it, and you guys can pick for me. But I'll be honest, after the stream, even if you guys don't pick it, it's probably going to remain 9009. So don't vote now, let's wait to the end, and then we'll pick a keycap set once the board's built. So I'm just going to pop that to one side, and we'll come back to that shortly. What we're going to do first is put the PCB and plate together, but we're going to start with the stabilizers. First thing I'm going to do is just take the PCB out of the bag. So as you can see, this PCB does have the cutouts for the standoffs inside the case. So we saw these standoffs earlier on. I'll just show you really quickly. So you can see the standoffs here and here, and then there's some along the front row as well. And these cutouts here are for where those standoffs go, and that's where the gasket rests. Effectively, the gasket stretches around the keycaps once that goes into place. Langalandia, thank you very much, dude, for the 8-month streak. It says, love you, Jay. I love you too. Your board, so after you took forever to give me the address yesterday, your board didn't get shipped. It's sat next to me, but it is going in the post tomorrow, and I'll send you your tracking number first thing tomorrow when I get to the post office as well. C3 stabs. No, these are Everglide stabs. I did a bit of a review of the C3 ones, and I wasn't a massive fan. They're great in terms of colour, but not in terms of practicality. I can't show you my C3 stabs because I'm not sure where I've put them in the office reorganisation today, but these are pink Everglide stabilisers, also known as Durox stabilisers. Jay Krepp says, whoa, RIP, when did an R2 run? R2 of what, good sir? If you mean the Unicorn, it hasn't. I've just been part of the last batch, and it's literally only just shipped to me a couple of weeks ago, so I've only just received it last week. Everyone else got theirs in June, July, but there was about 10 or 15 of us that got the last ones just in the past couple of weeks. Mida said, so Everglide stabs over anything else at the minute. I think in terms of, there's two ways of looking at this. One is in terms of actual the best, and then going down in stages from there. And the other way is looking at it from a financial perspective in terms of what's the best value, because those are two very different questions in my view. If you want to know what stabilizers are the best, they go in this order right now, in my opinion. Zeal stabilizers at number 1, Duroc and Everglide at number 2. The reason they're at number 2 is because whilst they feel identical and sound identical, there is some slight differences in terms of the QC quality. So there is usually some housings that don't quite work, don't clip in wires on the Everglides and things like that. So that's why they're in second place. In third place, I would then go C3 stabilizers, and then in fourth place, it would go the current GMK retooled stabilizers. So that's the current lay of the land in my view. In terms of value, I would just flip 1 and 2 round. So in terms of value, I think that Zeal stabilizers are quite expensive for what they are. It's entirely up to you whether that tiny increment in terms of QC quality and but that large increase in cost is worth it or not to you. That's entirely up to yourself. For me, I think that these are the best bet between value and performance. So that's where I judge it anyway. That's my kind of take on it. I just saw R2 on their website. Is that old? I think R2 is running for the Unicorn. I don't know when, but this isn't an R2 unit. This is an R1 unit. Wilson's here as well. Says the extra ran on Sunday. Oh, there we go. I didn't know. I wasn't aware of that. So yeah, there you go, guys. Cool. So in terms of the build today, we are using a fixed ISO layout, which means we need a stabilizer for backspace. We need a stabilizer for the ISO enter. And we need a stabilizer for the 7U space. I'm just going to get all of these parts together. Okay. Okay, so rest away. I thought the spacebar needs to be clip-in stabilizers. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't. So, as far as I understand, the PCB has changed and it should work just fine. Everglides, it is. Are they pre-clipped? Yes, you don't need to clip them, just need to lube them. These aren't, well, I wouldn't say they're pre-clipped because they haven't been clipped at all. They're just, the mold doesn't need clipping, is how I would rather put it, rather than pre-clipped. I know that sounds pedantic, but it is a bugbear of mine when people say that. Okay. Nathan built one. If you use the gasket, it needs clipping. If I remember correctly, Nathan built one recently, and he had to do that. Kakana says, "I see you got a bit of a problem on the right-hand side." Oh, do you mean the bits? Is that what you're talking about? I've watched Gasman Huey build these with the gasket. You definitely clip in for the spacebar. I was under the impression that this had been fixed. Let me see if I can find some stabilizers really quickly. Give me 1 second, guys. See if I can find some GMK ones. Okay, there we go. Perhaps we just use the GMK ones then, because I have got some old ones. Okay, so it's not Everglide stabilizers. Thank you very much for pointing it out, guys. As far as I was aware, it had been fixed, but yes, let's go with your guys' recommendation. Okay. So, GMK clip-in. That's a screw. I do have some clip-in ones in here, but they're all in one big batch. I don't particularly want to use pre-built ones. Clip in. This is going to take some time, guys. Let's get the 3, 4, 5 and 6. I'm sure you guys did this just for this bit to take forever, keep the stream going longer. They're built, I don't want to use pre-built ones. Clip in. Clip in. Now, luckily all the clip-in ones I have are pretty old, that's 4. Just need 2 more now. Clip in. 1 more. Clip in. There we go. Okay, cool. Thank you very much for that, guys. We'll go with that. So we will clip these really, really quickly. Production value right here. Yeah, absolutely. So guys, just to remind you, in terms of clip-in stabilizers, what we're going to do is clip, if it focuses, this leg here that you can see is raised off the base, and then this one in this top corner here as well, which is raised off the base. So you can see that those 2 legs are kind of raised away. We're just going to clip those off. So just so you can see, we're going to clip this one like so, and then we're going to clip this one like so, and that flew off somewhere across the house. I'm going to quickly catch up all of these to the same level. Oh. Make sure you clip both sides, don't forget. Okay. Absolute worst part of clipping stab is when it flies off and you don't know where it went. So what I usually do when I'm not showing people is I actually put my thumb over the bit that I'm clipping, and then it doesn't fly off anywhere, it just collapses into your hand. So that's how I usually do it, to prevent it flying off everywhere. As you can see, I just put my thumb over the end and just pin it in place almost. And that works really well. And now I've got iTunes asking me if I want to update. I don't. There we go. Okay. Do you know what? I didn't get the wires out. We need wires. 7U spacebar wire and 2 2U wires. There we go. Okay, so now we've done that, I'm going to assemble these, and then once I've assembled them, I will lube them. Now, remember guys, you always want the 2 holes on this side going towards the front of the housing, and the front of housing was where the wire clips. In fact, we'll do these the old-fashioned way. Let me just squeeze out some dielectric grease. Okay, I wasn't planning on having to lube stabilizers today, so okay. And then what we'll do is once these are assembled, we'll just give them a quick additional lube. That's the first one done, and then we'll lube the slider rails shortly. Okay. There'll be a small run for some extras next week. Is that for Unicorn? Oops. I do hate this particular dielectric grease. It's a lot thicker than the stuff I usually use. There we go. Okay, that's that one done. And then we'll do the 7U spacebar as well. And then once we've done this, we'll just give them a light brushing. Just on the sliders. Just make sure everything moves nicely and easily as it should do. Oops. Okay. Okay, so that's that part done. Now we're just going to take a brush and brush them in. If I remember correctly, Elaine split the 40 extras to 2 rounds. Okay, interesting. Okay, so it's not a round 2, it's just an extras. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. All I'm going to do now, guys, is just paint the side of the sliders, just with a thin layer, just not too much, not too little. Try and keep it as smooth as possible. Okay. That's one done. Okay, found a link on their site. Nice. I assume that's to the unicorns. I'm a real big fan of pretty much everything that Elaine does, and also what TGR do. So for me, ordering this when it first came out was an absolute no-brainer. And it took a while, but I'm sure the wait will be worth it. Okay. Just on to the final one now. Then we'll get these in the PCB. We can add the plate and start popping some switches in. Okay, last side. There we go, and just on this one. And there we go, all nicely lubricated. I'll leave that to one side just in case we need to re-lube anything. You never know how it might go. Might need to retune those stabilizers, so we can always do that if we need to. Ryan says, I may have missed it, but is there a reason you're lubing the stabs differently than the normal dielectric grease injecting? Yes, so I usually use a dielectric grease that's designed for cars that's quite thin, and you can use that using a squeezy bottle. I have lost that during the office reorganisation, and I've got to use my other silicone grease, which is a lot thicker, which is more of a gluey type substance, and that does need a brush. You can't squeeze the bottles with it because it's just too thick to pressure through the bottles. Okay, so we're going to now just line everything up on the plate, work out which holes we need to use for a space bar. So we can see that it's these ones just here. I'm going to clip one side in. Whoops. Pretty sure it was just here. There we go. And then we'll clip the other side in. Just make sure that's right. All looking good. Then we're going to pop one in for ISO, the ISO enter, and that's going to just sit right there and right there. And then the final one for backspace is just going to go up here. And there we go. Those are all now clipped in place. We can see that the plate fits nicely around those. That's all looking good. Nice, neat, tight and even. The next thing is to put the clips in. Wadeo Blanche says, what have you got the wife for Christmas? So a couple of things. I bought her some new bits and pieces to stop her stealing mine, socks. And I'm also taking her away for a trip to a spa. So between Christmas and New Year, we're spending 3 nights at a spa, not too far away from where I live. It's about an hour and a half's drive, and we're going to have loads of massages, treatments, some nice meals out, that kind of thing, and that's my Christmas present to her. So there we go. Chris Stomp says, hey man, good to see you. In the future you will be offering CF plates, but could we ask for more flex cuts or leaf spring, etc.? Is it open to customization? If you can provide a file that's customized, you can have whatever you like. If you can give me a file that's done, then you can do whatever you like. We will be offering a customization service where instead of just doing the layout, we can add those things in for you, but because that's more design work, there will be a cost to that. And James AKB, who's in chat, previously known as Satanicist, he will be doing that work on the plate design files, and I'll be doing obviously fulfillment of everything else. So we can do that, but there will be an extra cost for that service. So there we go. Connie Otor says, finally an EU friendly stream. Finally, I've been doing this stream for nearly 3 years now, originally on my own channel, then under Top Clack, always on a Sunday night, always at 8 PM. So there we go. Okay, now it's time to pop the switches in. Wilson says, I will most likely use the WT60D PCB and the sides instead of the original PCB since it does not touch the traces. Interesting. So, and file size. So, I like the WT60D PCB. I have one in a build just over here, in fact, actually. I haven't built yet, but I can show you. So this is in a Noxery TR60. This is the WT60D PCB run by Mechanisk. And as you can see, I've got the flex cuts in the plate to match the flex cuts in the PCB, so I'm not sure how easy it is for you to see, but that actually matches the exact cuts underneath in the PCB as well, both the top and the bottom one. And that's the plate file that I'll be running in the group buy for standard tray 60% as well. It's called the it was designed for the double PCB, but it works really well for the Wilbur one as well, and there'll be an ANSI and an ISO variant of that particular plate. So watch this space for more details on that. So we're going to be using inks today. I'm expecting these to be quite tough to push into the PCB because inks usually are. I'm going to pop one in each of the 4 corners first. And as you can see, and as I said before, we are using a completely fixed layout. Okay, so this one's being a little bit of a pain. Stuck. Okay, I think this switch just hasn't been closed properly when I've been lubricating it. Yeah, we'll come back to that one. Let's try a different switch in that particular position. Okay, it's just really tight. There we go. Okay, so making sure everything stays nice and flush. Then we'll come over to this bottom corner here. We bent that pin. Typical. Joan27 says, have you ever used sound dampening material like Soldering in your build? Yes, but I like the keyboard to be able to speak for itself and hear what the actual sound of the keyboard is, rather than necessarily listening for the sounds of, you know, just dampening or anything like that. I prefer to keep the keyboard as unmolested as possible. For me, there's something wrong with the board if you have to do that, or there's something wrong with the way you built it if you need to put sound dampening in, unless you're particularly trying to build a quiet board. Okay, everything going together nicely now. Just going to pop a couple in the middle, and then from there everything should support itself as we move around. To make sure everything is nice and tight up against the plate. Okay. Just lifting the plate up where it's just not quite clipping into the switch, because it is quite a tight plate. There we go. Make sure everything is nice and smooth and even all the way throughout. Okay, there we go. TGR single plates are always tight with inks. Yes, they are, but this, as I can say, this is one that I've had cut separately myself in one of my carbon fibre runs. What you find is that the more switches you get in, the more the switches that hold the plate up and keep it in the right position, so it gets easier and easier to put your switches in. The single plates are super tight. Yes, they can be. I've never used a carbon fibre plate before. They're more of a less of a pain than brass to put thick switches into. The much of a muchness, it's not just that brass particularly is difficult to work with, it's more how they've been designed. You know, if you've got slightly more tolerance in your switch cutouts, then the switches are going to be easy to put in. So all I'm doing is literally just lifting up the plate gently to make sure it's sitting evenly in the switches. There we go. Okay. Put in the ISO enter. Kiwara says, please help, I'm stuck on the idea that I need not have two boards with the same switches. What do you think of this? I have no problem with using the same switches in two boards. It all depends for me on how many boards you're going to have and what your builds are. If you like the switches though, different boards will sound different and they will feel different. Just having the same switches in them doesn't mean that the board's going to feel the same or sound the same. You know, you can use the same switches in 3 different boards and all 3 will sound different. So there's nothing wrong with that. I think I've got 6 or 7 boards with inks in now. But I like the switches, I think they sound good, I think they feel good. I think they're nice to work with. They tend to fit the types of boards that I like to use. So I have absolutely no issue with anyone ever using the same switches in 2 different builds or whatever you feel comfortable with. People often have a favourite switch and just use that exclusively. So okay, so now we're at the point where we should be able to just start pushing switches in, and the rest of the switches that are in the board should start supporting and keeping everything in place. Okay. Get some lessons from Cohen or Quer. Recently built Sirius using carbon plate and GAT yellows, and it was a very pleasant build experience. The plate fit for the board and switches was perfect. Yeah, this is pretty good. The tolerances are really good here. And this is obviously using the TGR and Singer design for the plate. Whilst I've amended it to fixed ISO, I haven't changed any other aspects about the plate. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of a persuasion. Just make sure it's all nice and flush. There we go. Oh, he means you. Okay, fair enough. Quer is the photo man. I think the photo used for the server banner is my favourite Cube photo ever. Yeah, he's very, very talented at photographs. That's why 2 of his feature in the calendar. He is very dedicated to his craft. He's a very nice guy to boot. And I'm really tempted to send him pretty much all of my boards for promotional pictures going forwards. So I shorted a PCB a while ago, doing what we're doing right now. You just have to be careful. So what I'm doing when I'm putting this in, let me show you up close. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it in, but I'm not actually touching the PCB. I'm sliding it in underneath the edge of the plate, and then I'm lifting it. So if you can see there, they never touch the PCB. Never touch the PCB. I haven't tried alpaca switches yet. No, I haven't got any. No one has offered to send me some, and I haven't needed to buy any new switches for a while, so I have none as yet. I probably will try them at some point. We shall see. Okay. The more of this horrible green we cover up, the nicer this PCB and plate looks. Okay. Starting to get there now. Not too much more to go. This is where I find out I'm something like a switch short or something. Okay. Are you lubing your ink switches? If yeah, what am I using? So these are lubed with 205 grade 0. A very, very, very fine coat, not thick at all. The springs are sprit springs, and they've been lubed with Krytox 105 grade 0. Not 105 grade 0, just Krytox 105 oil, sorry. Okay. So 205 grade 0 on the switches, and then 105 on the spring. Final switch. There we go. Okay, so just looking down the sides, you can see that everything is nice and evenly pressed together. There's no gap between the switches and the plate, or the switches and the PCB. Everything is looking rather tasty from that perspective. So we're all good from there. My alpacas keep getting traded between shipping providers. Oh wow. Red inks are my fave. I do like red inks. I tend to prefer black inks just for the colour, but there's something about red on carbon fibre I think just looks great. I mean, if you just look how nice they look. If only the PCB was red. If only the PCB was red. And I don't usually like red PCBs, but there we go. Okay, it's now time for us to solder the board together, guys. So if you guys have got any questions for me that you want to ask me directly, this is the time. Start your post with @TopClack so I can see them nice and easily. Yeah, let's go from there. Let's see what you guys want to know of me. Nothing is off limits, so you can ask me anything as long as it's stream safe. I'm comfortable with any question. You can ask away. It does not have to be keyboard related. Toss up between red inks and Helios, yeah. AKB James says, what's the problem with green PCBs? I just don't like this particular green. I don't know. I just don't like it. To me, it screams prototype. I like colour greens, so I don't mind like the Mechanisk WT60D PCB colour, although that's a tealy green, it's still green. I do like that. I'm just going to do each of the 4 corners first. I just don't like this particular PCB green. I don't know, it just looks... When you can have blacks and golds and multiple other colours, you know, and you can have matte effect and all of that kind of thing. This green just makes it look like cheap electronics, I think. That's just my head telling me that. Like if you ever take apart an old TV or an old monitor or something like that, all the PCBs were always green, and it's just kind of like, that's standard, it's not premium. I think it's as simple as that, really. So once we've done these 4 corners, I'll just go through and check we've got no bent pins. And then from there we'll solder the rest of the board together. Okay. Connie O'Toole says, how much of the initial solder mounts are covered with extra backup? Like if there are 50 sold boards, how many are there extras usually? It depends on the group buy, but some group buys will have, you know, 10% extra boards. Some group buys will have, you know, 2% extra boards. I tend to run somewhere between 10 and 20% during my group buys, but every group buy is different, and each group buy run is different as well. I like to run 10 to 20% for 2 reasons. One, it means that I've got any extras in case anything is damaged and I can replace them and swap them out. I don't have to then order new parts from the factory or anything like that. I've got parts on hand that I can swap out. The second reason is because sometimes then you like to sell the extras, not necessarily to make a bit of profit, but you know, to help people who are come late to it and miss the board in the group buy. So yeah, all depends on the group buy runner. Okay, so this switches in here really tightly. There we go. Just bent the pin on this one, so I'm just going to straighten that up and re-pop it in, and then we'll carry on with the soldering. Pub Goku says, by the way, the wheel switches feel so much better after spending a bit kind of just pressing them all over and over. They feel amazing and even now. Yeah, that's the problem with old Vints. They tend to be fairly inconsistent from switch to switch, and with something like Nixies, you don't have the luxury of being able to cherry pick. So absolutely, just using them for a little while will really help. Okay. Carry on with the soldering now. But I'm glad you're enjoying the switches now, and I'm glad they're feeling good. Wilson says, I heard the PCB is a bit finicky. Gas got 2 of the PCBs fail on it. Apparently this is a new run. The last batch gang got the new PCBs. So we shall see. I mean, to be honest, it's not going to, even if I really like the board, just because I swap out boards so often, I have so many in rotation, it's probably not going to get that much use, maybe, you know, a few days a month. Okay. Do you think the Unicorn is worth the hype? Is it worth the aftermarket price for you? I'm not sure if it's worth the aftermarket price, but then again, I didn't buy mine aftermarket. I got mine in the group buy. I will tell you entirely whether I feel it's worthwhile once I've used it. I haven't actually typed on one for more than about 10 seconds at the Seattle meetup, so I haven't got any opinion on sound of the board yet. And this particular build will tell me how I feel about that. HighMind3D says, is there a way to get plate files for a plate you already own, like scanning it to get a hold of the DXF file? It depends on the board. A lot of them are already public, which means that they're dead easy to get a hold of. If it's something that's not public, then you can scan the board and then you'll have to recreate it in a CAD file using something like Fusion or a DXF file maker or something like that. You can also use like AutoCAD and lots of other software as well. Different people use different things, Rhino 3D, but it really does depend on what board it is. A lot of plate files already exist, and some manufacturers will share their plate files. Not all, but some will share them. So if you tell me what board it is, I might be able to help, or I might be able to point you in the right direction. Okay, so that's the first row done. I'm just going to drop down for the ISO enter here. Come on this row. Okay. Wilson says Mechanist just released their WT65D a few minutes ago on Instagram for his upcoming 65. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the 65 is. I like 65% boards. The J01 was designed around 65%. I use, you know, the E6.5 fairly regularly, or the Borsdorf as well, both 65%. Yeah, I have a PC canoe coming, which has been stuck in customs now for nearly 4 weeks. So hopefully that's going to arrive soon. It actually shipped long before this board did, and still hasn't arrived. And this board was already here, and it's been here over a week. So, you know, hopefully the PC canoe won't be too much longer. Okay, and Leandrin is a good guy as well. He's really nice. I spent a lot of time talking to him recently, so perhaps we might have some Leandrin builds coming at soon.com on stream. I'm rather excited by the Type X, which is kind of like a Noxry T60 kind of board with just the 4 mount points on a 60%. And then of course there's also the new Tinned coming, and Clipper S. Okay. Do you know of any service that does scanning? It's a duct plate, it's not public. Which board is it? Which particular board is it? Because I have got some duct plates, or duct plate files. So if you let me know which board it is, I'll let you know if I can do it. I don't have all of them, but I have quite a few. Jaycon says, any idea when Inver UHM WPE stems will be back in stock? I'm afraid I don't. I have some, and I'm going to be using some in a build probably next week or the week after. It entirely depends on if I'm building the Honeyboard next week or the week after, because the PC canoe is going to come first before the Honeyboard, unless the PC canoe isn't here, in which case the Honeyboard will go first, and the UHM stems are going to go in the Honeyboard. So. Okay. Tuxkey says, any thoughts on the Canoe PC version? Never owned a PC keyboard. I was wondering how long screw holes in polycarb last without inserts. So they're usually pretty fine, as long as you don't over tighten them and you're not taking them apart and putting them back together every 5 seconds. I would suggest with PC boards, build your board, flash it, make sure you're really comfortable with the layout, and make sure you've got a reset key on there, so that once you screw it together and you put the case together, you don't need to take it apart unless you want to desolder the board in the future. So I would absolutely recommend that you get as much of the build done as possible, and make sure you're as 100% comfortable with it as you can before you put it in the case. It's not that it's impossible to do these things, and it'll be fine to unscrew it and rescrew it together a few times, but you don't want to be doing it every day or every week or anything. It's not like metals, aluminiums and steels where they're just going to be fine to be unscrewed and rescrewed directly for, you know, forever. That's not the case. But as long as you're gentle with them, as long as you're delicate, as long as you don't go too overboard with the tightening, just go finger tight and leave it at that. Any tighter and you risk damaging the board. So gently does it with those. That being said, inserts only last so long as well. The torque that's applied to the insert can twist it out of the case as well. So, you know, it's it's a plastic at the end of the day. It's not designed to last forever, sadly. Okay, just over halfway through the board now. Right, come back along this row. I'm going to do the bottom row at the same time, so I'll do these 2 rows together. Highman says it's the Ryan V3. I will check after the stream, dude. If I have it, then I will share it with you. I'm absolutely fine to do that. No one swore me to secrecy on any of the duct plate files that I have, so if that's one of the ones that I do have available, you are welcome to it. Okay. Thanks a lot, Jay. It would be super nice if I could get a CF plate for it. Yeah, I mean, well, we'll be running the group buy. If I've got the plate file, I'll just message you and let you know, and we can run it in the group buy in January without an issue. It is going to be run on my site, prototypist.net. The reason for that is twofold. One, it's easier to keep track of orders rather than in a Google form, and two, it also means that it's not going to affect my personal tax position, having money going in and out of my personal accounts, so it'll be much simpler from that perspective, which means I don't have to limit it as much as we did for the first run. So this next run we can do it as unlimited as we like. The only impact with them will just be on time to deliver, because more boards to sort, more plates to arrange, more plates to organise means more time to do so, but other than that it should be pretty okay. And as I mentioned before, if you do want a keyboard calendar, they are for sale right now. You can get them on my site, prototypist.net. You can also get them on the Key.company, who's one of Top Clack's lovely sponsors as well. And also, if you're in Australia and that kind of region, switchkeys.au is selling the calendars as well. Lots of lovely images provided by the community. And if it goes well, we'll be doing one next year where we offer a competition, and winners of the competition will get their boards featured and a small royalties payment and a few other bits and pieces. Sadly, we weren't able to arrange all of that this time, so we just curated the pictures ourselves, but definitely got some more ideas to expand on it next year. Okay, almost there now. Last row. Okay. Just final 3 switches now. Last 2 switches. Okay, this is the last one, and then we'll take a minute break, catch up with chat, see how everything is going. Okay, there we go. When are the calendars expected to ship? So I'm expecting the calendars to ship to me before Christmas. I'll probably receive them in the new year. As soon as I get them, they will be out within a day. So as soon as I get them, I will just box them up, ship them out the same day. So you should have them mid-January at the latest, is the current view. I want to get them out as soon as possible. We did leave it a little bit late. The idea, I think he's in chat actually. The guy who designed it, Wilson1155, is in chat. He's somewhere, I can't see him now, but he is in there. He actually designed the calendar and came to me with the idea, so then we tweaked some of the pictures and came up with some different ideas and banded it around a little bit. And next year I'd like to do it with a bit more time in advance, think about it September, get them on sale in October, November, ship them in December. Everyone has them for Christmas. Perfect. This year we were a little bit late, and it took about a week to go from idea to on the store, so you know, it's one of those things. But yes, they'll ship as soon as I can. I didn't hear the website for the calendar. May you repeat it? It's prototypist.net, and then there's also the proxies on there as well. So Wilson's actually pasted the link into there as well, so you can click on that link and it will take you straight through it. It's a full size. It's not quite A4. It's 21 by 28 centimeters, and it will be on a perforated reel on a ring, and you'll flip it over for the different months. So it's not going to be tiny. It's not going to be this sort of size. It's, you know, it's quite chunky. It's going to be fairly large. Not quite A4, just a little bit smaller. So cool to say the J01 and Jen. Nice way to start the year. Well, January the 1st and J01. It kind of made sense. So Wilson picked that, not me. Top Clack, we have streams twice a week, dude. Yes. Colour me surprised. I didn't pick any of the pictures depleted Vespine. Not one of the pictures did I pick. Wilson picked all of the photographs that he used. So yeah, none of them were on me. I just ticked the box and said, okay, I'm happy with that. So yeah, and the other thing as well is we've got the raffle on for the J01 tickets. The minute you can buy them right here in this bottom corner. Novel Keys is where they're for sale, $5 each. So yeah, depleted lesbian, no, depleted Vespine. Sorry. Yeah, so the other J01 board, there is a final production board, which is A stock. That production board is going to be for sale in January as well to the highest bidder for charity too. So yeah, so looking forward to doing that. Okay, so that's all now soldered together. It's now time to test this. This is mini USB, so I have a cable just here. Let me just get a switch hitter so you guys can see it. And then this is the PCB I tested before the stream, so I hope it still works. Okay. Let's see what we have. So it's not escape, but it's still working. We'll worry about the programming later on. I don't need to program it on stream. The whole first row works. You can hear my PC making noises in the background. Okay, all working from that perspective. Caps lock works as well. Okay. That's FN, or it will be when I finish. Oh, that must be FN. This must be programmed as FN right now. Let's see if we can find it to do something. If that or it doesn't work. It's all soldered. I'm going to guess that is to FN and there's just no other functions programmed on the board. Yeah, I can't find any of the functions, but I'm pretty sure it's working just fine. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's going to be okay. So I'll just reprogram it after the stream. So now we've done that, it's time to put the board in the case. Now, as I say, I'm not going to screw the board into the case at all. All I'm going to do is use the gasket to pressure fit it. Now, the gasket fits around the switches. Two. I didn't realise that. There we go. So this basically goes around the board and it goes between the plate and PCB. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stretch that into position around the corners. Just like so. We're going to hold that in place while we pull it around to the bottom corner. And then whilst that's in place, we're then going to pull it around above the USB and then into position like so. Okay, there we go. Pingu says, how does one arrive at Top Clack other than from their streams? True, yeah. Wilson, it was a pleasure, man. Pleasure, my pleasure. I missed what temperature do you use on the TS100? So I use it at 300 degrees or 320 degrees depending on the solder I'm using. This is Kester solder, so it melts quite a low temperature. I would try not to go any higher than 320, 330 really, but you can go a little bit if you need to. Okay, let's get rid of the switches. There we go. Oza says, I really wanted to win the J01, another draw in the future. So there's the J01 raffle that's on right now. You can buy a ticket, you have a chance of winning it. There is also one final board which will be for sale in January, and that will be sold to the highest bidder, again for charity. It's going to the same charity. The whole thing, every penny, will go to the Sue Ryder Foundation, and as I say, that will be for the highest bidder. So whoever gives the most money to charity basically wins that board. And then I'll be doing a payment to the charity for all of the funds from Novel Keys, all of my additional fund batching, an additional donation from other people that have asked to make larger payments in rather than just the $5, and then we'll go from there. But as I said, we've sold 1,668 tickets as of the last count. I'm hoping to hit 2,000 tickets, and then I'm hoping that we'll make a decent amount on the January JO1 raffle, which is the final A stock board. So yeah, fingers crossed. Okay, now that's done, we are going to pop this in the case. So I just need to make sure we line up the USB, and then we're just going to use the pressure fitment to get it all to slide together. We will when I can do that. Come on. Just try and gently use the scalpel to push that underneath. Okay. Slowly going in. Man, that's tight. There we go, all looking good. Cool, excellent. Okay, so that's now all in position and in place. Pretty sure that's as deep as it's going to go. Next thing to do is put some keycaps on, guys. So, as I mentioned before the stream, you guys can pick 9009 or Dolch. It is going to have 9009 on it ultimately, but now's the time to vote, guys. Give me your votes, Dolch or 9009. How are you going to take it out? LOL. So to take it out, you undo this screw, this screw, this screw, this screw, and there's two holes underneath. You push the PCB back out. Simple as that. Dolch says depleted vest bean. Undercover brother and AKB James say 9009. Tai How Miami. I'm not putting Tai How on it. I do have a Tai How set actually just here. Tai How jukebox. Cubic by Living Speed Bump. I think there's more votes for 9009 here, I think. But it's really close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 votes for 9009. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for Dolch. That's really close, but 9009 pips it. So, sorry folks, but 9009 it is. Faye counts as 4 votes. What did you vote for, Faye? I didn't say Dolch, sorry, no. 9009 it is. Okay. I'll let you guys pick in terms of accents. Do you think we should just go with the beige, guys, or do you think we should use any of the accent keys? We've got the green or the pink. The pink isn't quite a match for the colour, you can see here. And this is the green. You guys can pick on accents whilst you guys are deciding. No accent, pink accent, green accent, never mind. No accents, no accent, the pink accent. Pink accents will still look good on it. Green, both look good. No accents, no accent. I think there's more votes for no accents. I'm going to go with 0 accents. We're just going to go with the beige on this. Keep it nice and simple. Try and make a little bit more space. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is pop the UK ISO keys on here because this set supports UK ISO. It's always dear to my heart. Missing one UK ISO key here. There it is. Okay. Whichever colour you dislike the most, Jay. Well, I just wanted to use the beige on it, I'll be honest. I'll change my vote, no accents. Yeah, I think accents won't quite work on this, whilst the set itself will look nice. Beige goes with everything, guys. Beige goes with everything. Are the inks lubed? Yes, they're linked with 205 grade 0, and then they've got 105 on the springs. Okay. Very time when someone uses the ISO key. Hey man, ISO is my jam. I prefer ISO to any other layout, so I use it whenever I can. That isn't always the case, but always possible even. But when I can, I do use it. I forgot to put the ISO shift key in, and now I can't see it. There it is. Okay, and then we need the 1.75U shift for the other side, and then I need the go for the Sangan bottom row on this particular build. Where are the 1U menu keys? Can't see them. Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. Wait, that looks too big. There we go. I'm sure that a lot of these are missing. Alt-GR, how good is that? Look, Alt-GR. There's not enough sets with Alt-GR in. That's how it should be. That is how it should be. I'm sure there is some 1U super keys, but I can't for the life of me see them. One's there. Oh, they're just in this pack, that's why. They're just in that pack. I'll put the FN key on. Okay, now time for the alphas. Okay, so let's catch up with chat, see what you guys are talking about. Tuxki says, sensitive question, why do most folks prefer ABS over PBT? I kind of like PBT for the durability. Nothing wrong with that. I like ABS because of its feel, it's smoother. PBT always feels a little bit coarse, a little bit rough, and I like shine to develop over time. I like shine on my keycaps, so it's all personal preference. If you like something different, then you go with what you like, dude. Simple as that. Don't let anyone tell you you're wrong, because you're not. Sick rhymes. Not sure who rhymed. I like ABS because I like shine. Yeah. History question. Why do different parts of the world use ISO versus non-ISO? Do you know what? I'll let Depleted Vespian answer that, but it's basically just due down to the history of the countries and the particular standards that were chosen at certain points in time. Back in the day, big ass enter was, and I'm really simplifying here, but big ass enter was the in use majority, so that's the key that kind of had that sort of shape. And IBM looked for different ways to make the keyboards more ergonomical, and they came out with two different layouts effectively, where you had a vertical enter key, which is the ISO one, and a horizontal one, which is the ANSI key. So if you think about ANSI, it actually takes up the same amount of space and uses two keys. So you can do that and have that, and that shape is big ass enter, or you can do that and that shape is big ass enter. And that was just two different stylistic ways that IBM came up to shrink that key effectively while still keeping that nice edge. And at the same time, they split left shift and playing around with tabbed key control caps and all sorts of other good stuff. Tabbed enter keys and all sorts of different kind of stepped caps, and lots of different things were being tried, and eventually the different countries just adopted different layouts. So the American National Standards Institute chose ANSI, the ISO community chose what's now called the ISO layout, and it went from there basically. Japan uses something called JIS, which is their institute standards, and that has a very different bottom row with a lot more keys on it, but it also uses the vertical ISO enter key as well. So there we go. Not quite happy with that spacebar. I'll have a look at it in a second. the space bar is slightly sticking, so just gonna see if it's a stabilizer issue. I think it is. Please don't do this on your own boards unless you know what you're doing. I'm just literally scraping off some of the excess. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, there we go, guys. Don't you feel bad for using a very expensive key set a lot and letting Shine develop over it? God no. God no. I have a fairly nice collection of key sets, so yeah, it's fine. Eek, a knife near a carbon fibre plate. Simple as it's fine. I was just going down the inside of the stabilizer just to scrape out any lube that got over too much over the sides. It's just not quite fully returning. Let's have another look. It's not a switch. I suspect it just needs to be used. So all I'm doing is just going down on the inside of the stabilizer, just scraping off some of the lube that's on there, just making a much thinner layer. Okay. Okay, I think that should be okay now, he says. Let's see. Better. There we go. Much better now. There we go. Okay, great. Okay, so too much lube on the wooden stamps. Yeah, it's exactly what it was. I was just scraping off some of the lube on the stabilizer, just a little bit too much. It was just binding. I'm still not used to using this thicker stuff, and that was part of the reason why. Key sets are meant to be used. Yes. Is it me or does it not look straight? You tell me what doesn't look straight, and I will have a look at it. But I'm pretty sure that everything is straight. Backspace maybe a slight bit off. There we go. ISO enter is fine. Spacebar is fine. All of the other keys are fine. Yeah, everything looks just fine. The stab, not the cap, he's messing with the stab. Oh, the stabilizer's fine. Yeah, it wasn't bent or anything. Can you show a close-up of the USB port? Also, mine kind of slides out when I turn the board upside down. This is not going to slide out, but there you go. There is the USB port. There we go. I'm pretty sure it's not going to slide out at all. Yeah, there's no way that's coming out. I don't think I could even pull it out if I wanted to. The caps would come off first. Yeah, the caps would pull off first before that came out. Looks fine now, all looks fine. Was before you took it off. Alright, okay. Right control isn't straight. Good spot, good sir. It's not. Indeed, it's not. Now, is that a keycap problem, or is that a switch problem? It's not a switch problem. The switch looks good. I think it's the stem. Oh well, can always fix that later. Let's go first then. 10 fast fingers. No, I can't type fast enough to do 10 fast fingers. Bottom right control is off. Okay. The backspace key is not. Might just be the camera, but the backspace key is pretty much even. Can't see anything wrong with that. Grin's keyboard is just like him. Maybe your plate is tighter fit in the case than mine is. The plate's not touching the case at all, it's just the gasket that's holding it in place. So there we go. Slap the brass bottom. No movement. There we go. Grin's keyboard is just like him, yeah. Okay guys, so I think that's the board built. So next two things to do is, firstly, we're going to do a typing test so you guys can hear how it sounds. Move it a little bit closer to the mic. There we go. And then from here, what we'll do is we'll then do a J-score, and we'll see how it looks and how it feels, and we'll go through all of the standard J-score stuff, and then we'll see what we think. It's actually the velvet colour, but instead of it being a dark red, it's a little bit more lighter. So it is still red, but it's a bit more of a dusty pink almost than a red particularly. But it is a really lovely colour. Really nice, but it's technically the velvet. So there we go. Okay, but I think you'll agree that looks pretty good. It's rather nice, if I do say so myself. Pretty happy with that. GMK sets with the much compat used to be like $180 a year ago. No, they didn't. They were like $150 at most. And then you had sets like Calm Depths, GMK Calm Depths, which had pretty much all of the compatibility, which was $125. So these $180 prices, there was very few that got that high. The only ones I can think of were GMK Lime, which had enforced novelties in the base kit and was very, very highly priced, and a few others. But now key sets cost me a lot more, because if I want to buy the ISO set and everything else, I end up spending $200 plus shipping and VAT. And I used to get everything for $145, $150, and now I have to spend, you know, a good $70 or $80 on top of that plus taxes. So it's a little bit disappointing, but that's me. What do you think of lilac boards? Lilac is amazing. I can't wait to see some of the Canon Keys boards in that lilac colour. I'm really excited to see some of those. Anyway, guys, without any further ado, this is the Singer by TGR and Singer. Sorry, this is the Unicorn by TGR and Singer with lube Gatoron ink switches. So these are red Gatoron switches with 72 gram sprit springs, lubed with 105 grade 105. Cortex 105, and the switches themselves have been lubed with 205 grade 0. GMK keycaps, carbon fiber plate, and fully gasket mounted. So let's see what it sounds like. There we go, guys. Okay, guys. So a couple of things I know. It's quite a high pitched sound. I am a really heavy typist, yes. I did buy a new one, but it's exactly the same as the old one. So only the pop filter remains from the old one, but it is exactly the same model, exactly the same microphone. It's just a new one. And a new cable, so it is exactly the same thing, but it is brand new. So it has fixed the audio in terms of the volume, but it must have been a problem with the actual one. It is the Rode NT, yes, the Rode NT. So yeah, brand new. So yeah, I think it sounds really high pitched. It's probably a bit louder than I was expecting it to be. Yeah, really quite loud. Spacebar sounds really good. Yeah, I think the stabilized keys sound really good, as best as you can expect them. Not really sure what to make of it. I'm not sure if I like it or not. I can't tell. No, not particularly. They don't make them high pitch particularly. I have carbon fiber in a lot of boards of JL1 and other things, and not generally a high pitch thing. It basically sounds very similar to brass, but without any ping. So yeah, it does sound like Telios rather than inks. That's a really good way of putting it, actually, high-minded. Sounds closer to Telios than inks. So usually inks sound a little bit more thockier than this. So yeah, but the spacebar sounds really good. Can we hear another CF plate board to have a comparison? Yes, so give me a second, guys. I can get the JL1. So this is the J01. So just bear in mind, guys. But this board does sound amazing. So this is Gator on Inks Blacks in carbon fiber. So that sounds really good. And these are essentially the same switch as well. They're actually the same spring weighting, and they've been lubed identically as well. So there you go. I think the JO1 sounds better. So remember, guys, buy that raffle ticket. Look out for the hybrid board in January. Look out for the JO2 in February, because more of my boards are going to sell. Yeah. I've never heard same James. I've never heard a board this high pitched with inks in it. It just sounds really weird. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, and I'm not sure if I like it or not. But I love the look of the board. I think the board looks great. I think it looks fantastic. Maybe I should have done some infill on the logo. Maybe I should get a nice beige and do a beige infill on the logo, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, there we go. I don't know, there's not a lot of space underneath the PCB here. It's quite minimal, whereas there is a ton of space underneath it on the JO1. It was designed to sound good. Sound was the main driver for the JO1. So yeah, but this just sounds a bit too high pitched. Anyway, with that done, we're now going to do the J score. We are going to score this board in line with the J score, the standard values that we give it all the time. So I've already started to fill this in. So this is Unicorn with red inks with a carbon fiber plate. It was about $300, and we've got the J score and we've got the community score underneath it. First thing then, in terms of ease of build, so the way this works, guys, if you haven't done a J score with me before, is basically I ask you to rate the board on a number of different requirements and things like that. You can see all of these across the top of the screen. So you can see just up here we've got ease of build, we've got packaging, we've got first impression, and we do value, style, quality, typing sound, typing feel, which you guys have to take my word for, innovation, cool factor. Then we look at practicality from a work perspective, which is just here. We look at office acceptance, and we look at volume and noise level. Then we give it some final overall scores, and then we give it a ranking at the end. So and we also give it a hot take as well. So you can see here a couple of the previous scores. I've got B's and A's, and then there's the I've hidden some columns so you can't see it, but basically it all works out automatically for us. So last week we didn't score the Equinox in either of these three columns because it was a prototype, and that didn't get the score for build score. But this is not a prototype, this is a production board, so we'll go from there. So the way it works, guys, is when I'm about to ask you to score it, I'll give you a minute to do each score. I'll ask you to give a score out of 10 for ease of build. How difficult did it look for me to build it? Do you think you'd be comfortable building it? Is it something easy to do? The higher the rating, the easier it is. So a 10 would be the easiest board ever to put together, hot swap probably. And a 1 is something that's really difficult to do, probably something like a dactyl or something like that. And always the high score is the good score, so the higher you give the score, the better it is. So, you know, whenever we're looking at any of these, 10 is the best score and 1 is the worst score. Try not to give anything a 0 though, guys. Okay, so in terms of that, we're going to go back to this board. So it's this board here, the Singer that you can see right here, the Unicorn, the Singer Unicorn. Ignore this board, ignore that board. Just this board here. So in terms of the ease of build, how did you guys think it took? You know, how hard do you guys think it was for me to build this today? Do you think you'd be comfortable building a gasket mount board using this solution? Give me scores now. Timestamp of 9:37, and we'll count all of those there. So scores out of 10, guys, into chat. 1 through 10, let me know what you think. Whilst you guys are scoring it, I'm going to give it a score as well. I think it's pretty easy to put together. It was no more difficult than the whale we did a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to give that an 8. I think an 8's probably a fair score for that. I'll give you guys another 5-6 seconds to put any more scores in the doors. Let's see what you come through. Hardest part maybe putting the board. Yeah, the hardest part was just pressure fitting into the board. I didn't want to push too hard and damage the PCB or anything like that. Cartridge is an 8.5, 7.5 to an 8.5, an 8, a 7, an 8, a 7, a 9, an 8, an 8, an 8, an 8.5, an 8, 7.5 to an 8, an 8. I think you guys are pretty much on board with the 8 as well, so we'll go with that for that score. Okay, in terms of packaging, what did you guys think? Bear in mind it was all those different layers of nice thick cut foam. It was all wrapped up in Singer paper last week. I don't know if you recall when I took that off, but it was basically Singer crepe paper branded. So go with that. I'll bring the box back up. So this is the box. It was in a box, nicely protected in here in some milled foam. There was different layers like this that had different things in, like the PCBs and the plates, and they were all stacked up inside the box. On the outside of the box we do have the Unicorn logo just here with a nice big sticker, and then the box is fairly robust and made from recycled cardboard. In terms of packaging, what do you guys think? Is it good packaging? Is it bad packaging? Remember, if we looked at the Lin Whale a couple of weeks ago, that was in all nicely laid out boxes and everything else. I'm going to give this a 6 for the packaging. I don't think it's that good, but I don't think it's terrible. I think it will definitely protect the board. So if you guys give me scores on the doors from that perspective, we'll see what you guys think. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds or so. Just have a quick drink while you guys do that. Okay, let's call it there then, guys, and let's see what you guys come up with. Cyber Sam starts us off with an 8, 7.5 to an 8. Pretty good packaging, an 8, an 8. You guys are much more forgiving than I am. A couple more 8s, a couple of 7s. Pub Goku agrees with me, a 6. Tux Key Cyber Sam on 7s. Talisman's on an 8, and Camel Leopard's on a 7 as well. I think you guys are a little bit higher than me. You guys are probably averaging an 8 overall. There's a couple of 9s in there, a few 7s, quite a lot of 8s, some 7.5s. Maybe a 7.5 is where you guys are actually, 7.5. Okay, final one for the build score then. First impressions. So when I unboxed this board, guys, and I took it out of the box, what is your first impression of the board? If you guys are seeing this for the first time or right now, what do you guys think to the colour? What do you guys think to the design? What do you guys think to the weight? What do you think to the side profile? What do you think to the logo on the back? Give me a score out of 10, guys. Go for it. If you saw this, if you unboxed this and you saw that, what would you think? Do you think, yes, that looks good? Ignore the ISO versus ANSI debate, but in terms of the rest of the board, what do you think in terms of the score from that perspective? I think it looks great. I'm not going to lie, I think it looks fantastic. I think it looks really, really nice. I was excited by the colour. I think it looks great. I like the bezels. I like the design. I like the angled back. I like the unicorn logo. I like the unicorn on the base, that huge brass weight. And we'll weigh the board in a second at the end of this as well. I'm going to give that an 8. Okay, stop there, guys. Let's see what you guys come up with. So an 8, a 9.5, an 8.5, a 9, an 8, a 9. Lots of 8s, lots of 7.5s, lots of 9s, lots of 8s. I think you guys are probably quite high on this one. You're probably somewhere in the region of an 8.5 with the 9s and everything else on there. So let's go community score 8.5. Okay, so that's the build score done. We're now into the home score. So in terms of this, guys, we are looking at value, style, quality, typing sound, typing feel, innovation, and a cool factor. I'm going to start off with the value. I paid $300 for this with an extra PCB and a plate. I did buy on top of that a $30 carbon fiber plate. So I'm talking really for this particular build, not including the keycaps and switches, just for the board and the plate, somewhere in the region of $330-ish plus shipping. So, timestamp of 9:41 and onwards. Give us a score out of 10. Let me know what you think in terms of value. Is it worth $330-ish, $340? Or do you think it's overpriced? Do you think that's too high? Give me a score on the door, guys. Let me know what you think. 10 means it's absolute value. Every single penny, well worth a spend. A 1 means absolutely not. It's way too expensive. Wouldn't spend that kind of money on it. I think this is alright. I think this is probably a good price for a board that's as renowned as TGR and Singer, both brands are. I'm going to give it a 7 in terms of value. Okay, give you guys another 10 seconds. We're looking at timestamps of 9:41 onwards, and we'll see what we come up with. 10 Strong goes 7, Pilot says 8, Karcher says 8.5, a few more, quite a lot of 8s, another 9. Talisman and the City at Night say 8 as well. 8 is very reasonable, especially with the amount of brass. Yeah, there's a lot of brass, yeah. If you ask this to some not keyboard enthusiasts, they would answer way differently. Absolutely, but this is just fun. This is just for fun. 7.5, don't like to go with that Miro cluster. That's a fair comment. That's a fair comment. 7.5, says CyberSam. I think you guys are a little bit higher than me. I think you guys are probably an 8 overall. There's quite a lot of 8s in there. A few 9s, a few 7.5. So I'm going to go for an 8 for the community score. Onto style. How stylish is the board? Does the board look good? Do you like the style of it? What are your thoughts from that perspective? Do you like the design? Do you like the bezels? Do you like the edges? Do you like how the brass sits proud of the base? I don't know if you guys can see that, but it does sit proud. It's slightly raised off as the brass. What are you guys' thoughts on the stylings of the board? Do you like the USB cutout, or does that not work for you? Do you like how the switches are covered by the side of the board or not? Go on then, guys, give me a score out of 10 for style. Whilst you guys are doing that, I think that this looks good. It looks fine. I think the styling is quite nice. It's quite classic in terms of the styling, especially with the fact that you can get your fingers underneath the edges of the board to lift it up. I kind of like that it's kind of chunky on the bottom. I'm going to give this a 7.5 overall. Okay, let's see what you guys come up with from that. So CyberSam says 7.5, Kuro says 8. QC is pretty good for the price at least. That's very true, yes, the QC is good. You should have a wife approval score. How much she gives it out of 10? 1s. Everything will be a 1. Nice side profile, 7. Yeah, side profile is really nice. I do like that. I like the fact that you can see the brass a little bit, and then this, and then that. I do like that. 8.5s, a couple of 9s, a couple more 8.5s. Wilson says 9. Does look good. The colour and the brass. Want to see one in 65%. Yep, true. Would like to see a 65%. 7. 3.4. Not great. Not terrible. Out of 5. Okay, out of 5. So I'm going to double that Kakam because it's out of 10. So that's a 6.8. So that's not too bad. So a few 7s. I think you guys are pretty much in line with me here. A few 9s, a few 8.5. Maybe a little bit higher. I'm going to go for an 8 for the community score for that one. In terms of quality, marks out of 10, guys. In terms of quality, you've seen me build it. You've seen the design of the board. You've seen how it's all put together. You can see the tolerances here with the weight where it matches machines. What do you think in terms of the quality of the board, guys? Do you think the quality is good, really good, mediocre? Mediocre is a 5. Really good is a 10. You know, where do you think the quality is from that perspective? In terms of the quality of the materials, the machining, how straight the edges are, how the bevels are in the corners, how the chamfers and everything else are done, I think this is pretty good. I'm going to give this an 8.5 personally. I think it's really, really good. So I'll give you guys another 10 seconds. I'm just going to open another drink because I'm absolutely roasting in this room and really thirsty. There we go. Okay, so let's see what you guys have come up with. 998, 979, 3.14 out of 3.14. Nice bit of pie. A couple more 8s, a couple of 7s, a couple of 7.5s. 8.5 looks good. Build is on par. The only thing I'm not sure about is the sound. That's why no 9. Keyboards go better with Coke. Do they really? Interesting. Okay, so I think you guys are pretty much in line with me. There's quite a few 9s, quite a few 7s, quite a few 8s. I'm going to put you guys down for an 8 because I think that fits right in the middle of where you guys are scoring at. Okay, on to the big one then, guys. Typing sound. What do you guys think to typing sound? I'm just going to put the music back on as well. Five is mediocre, 1 is absolutely terrible, and 10 is it sounds amazing. Go for it, guys. Let me know what you think. I don't think it sounds terrible. It's not the worst sounding board I've used. I just don't know why it sounds like that. I'm not quite sure what it is. Green PCBs make boards sound like this. Okay, so I'm going to be brutal on this. I'm going to give it a 4, just a straight up 4, because I think that's where it fits for me. Okay, let's see what you guys come up with. James says a 4 as well. Chris Stomp says a 1. Pilot says a 6. Okay, that's fair. Tenstrong says 5. Karch says it's too sharp and gives it a 5 as well. High Mind gives it a 3. A couple more 5s, a couple of 6s. Cyber Sam gives it a 5.5. Depleted Vespine gives it a 7. That's a high score I think I've seen. Depends on the switch. What switch would it built with? This is built with red inks, so these are ink switches. Lube 205 grade 0 and 105 on the springs. Don't forget the stabilized keys were very good. Yeah, the stabilized keys do sound great. That spacebar is quite good actually. That's really tasty for a spacebar. Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to stick with a 4, 6.5. You guys are a little bit higher than me. I think there's quite a few 5s in there. There's some low ones like 3s and stuff, but most of them are on 6s and 7s. So I think you guys are probably on a 4.5 somewhere in there. So I'm going to go 4.5 for the community score in terms of the score. Typing feel, you guys are going to have to trust me on this one. I'm going to tell you how good it feels. So it actually feels really nice to type on. If I was deaf, it would feel great. The gasket does soften the bottom out, and it's quite even across the board. So there's not much flex, but it's soft bottom out, which is very similar to how I designed the JO1. So yeah, that soft bottom out is really nice. If it wasn't for the sound, it would sound and feel really good. Yeah, you're gonna have to trust me, guys. I'm gonna give that an 8 on the typing feel. It does feel really nice. Okay, on to innovation then, guys. We're going to try and blast through these last ones. Let's see if we can finish before the hour. Innovation. So basically feels great but sounds terrible. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It feels great but it sounds terrible. It does not feel as nice or sound as nice as the JO1, which is the only other carbon fibre and ink board I've got to hand. So right, guys, anyway, we're going to score it on innovation. So if there's loads of new things that you're seeing in this board that you've not seen in any other board, then we give it a high score. If it's just a standard board, you know, tray mount or whatever else, then we're going to give it a low score. So give me your scores on the doors. Do you think there's any innovation? Try and tell me why as well. So put a score and a reason why it's that high, because I'm always interested in the innovation one. It's the hardest one to mark. I'm going to say a few things. I think we've never seen gasket mount on tray mount before. At the same time, we've never seen that mixed. That being said, most people only use it with pressure fit gasket, which is fine. So we're not using it as a tray mount. So from that perspective, I think it's quite interesting and it's quite innovative, but I don't think there's much that's driving the rest of the design of the board. There's a couple of other things that I do think are quite innovative, like having the brass weight stepped away from the bottom of the case so you can see it just on that side profile. I kind of like that. So that's a little bit of innovation for me as well. Other than that, there's not much else, so I'm going to give it a 6. Okay, let's stop there, guys. Let's talk through and see what you guys have gone for. 6.5, 5, 5, 5, 4. Unique gasket implementation says 8. Yeah, that's true. 8. That edge gasket pressure fit. Yeah, smart design. 8. With a brass plate weight content, or is it raw glass? It's raw, so this is going to not patina nicely, especially now I put my fingers all over it today. 7, I've not seen this mounting type before. In addition, the way you remove it through the 2 holes inside. 7, yeah, okay. Okay, I think that's fair. Okay, I think you guys are a little bit higher than me. There's a couple of low scores earlier on, but as soon as I started talking, you guys came out with higher scores. So I think overall you guys are probably on a 7. So we'll go for that. And then a final one in this one. It's not really 365-ish, no, because that wasn't pressure fit into the case, so that just rested in the case, and then you pressed it down with the top piece. It wasn't in a tray mount case, so I can see the similarities, but I'd argue it's slightly different. The last one, guys, is its cool factor. If this was on my desk and you walked past me at work, how cool would you think this board was? Is this really cool, or is this not cool? Give me a score out of 10, guys. Go for it now. Let me know what you think from a cool factor perspective. Is it cool, or is it not cool, or is it mediocre at best? How cool is this board? Think about the name, think about the branding. It's TGR and Singer. Think about the Unicorn name itself. Think about the weight on the base. Is that cool? Is that not cool? It can be stylistically terrible, but it can be really cool. It can be really stylish and not cool at all. So, have a think about that, and let me know what you guys think. My view on this is, from a cool factor, I think it's alright. I think it's nice. I'd be impressed with anyone that had one, but not as much as, say, the Whale that we built a couple of weeks ago or something else. I think from a cool factor perspective, I'm going to go for just above mediocre and give it a 6.5. Oop, that's the community score. Let me put it in the right column. Okay. Okay, let's stop there, guys, and see what you've come up with. 8.6 as Kakan, TGR out of 10. I'm assuming that's a 10. 8. Understated standard from the top down. 6. Okay, good rationale. 7. Camping on that would have been great. That's a good shout, actually. Yeah, maybe I should dig out camping and put it on. 7.5. 9. Pilot XJ likes this one. Especially the base is awesome. The base is good. 9 from Wilson as well. Camel Leopard says, love the weight, though to be fair, I wouldn't see it just by walking by. Very true, yes. Malaysian Pride there. Nice one, Wilson. Yeah. 7.5, the colour and the weight would make me stop. The lack of arrow cluster wouldn't make me want one. Fair enough. Okay, so I think you guys are a little bit higher. There's quite a lot of 8s, a couple of 9s in there as well. Some 7.5s too. So I think you guys are a little bit higher than me. I think you guys are probably close to a 7.5 overall. Okay, now we're on to the work score. So this is Practicality, Office Acceptance and Volume. So you've got Practicality here. We've got Office Acceptance, and then we've got Noise and Volume level. So that's in terms of how loud or quiet it is, not how good it sounds. Remember when we get to that one, guys. So Practicality, this board, let's see how much it weighs, and then you guys can determine whether you think it's practical with a score as well. Let's turn these on. So this weighs 1.59 kilograms, which is 3 pounds 8 ounces. So it's fairly heavy. It's quite chunky. In terms of practicality, is that something you could carry around? Is it something you could take to work easily? Could you pop it in your bag? Would it bother you? Give me scores on the doors for practicality. Does it give you all the keys that you need, or is it too small with it being a 60? How does that filter into it? Give me some scores out of 10, guys. Practicality, what do you think? For me, I think it's 60%. It's not too heavy. It's fairly light. You could carry it around quite easily. It's not going to come apart. The gaskets aren't going to come out. Practically, I would struggle with a 60% at work a lot of the time. I use a 40% on travel, and then I use a 65% or larger, usually my JO1 when I'm in the office, or a Cypher. For me, I think I'm gonna go for practicality. I'm gonna go for a 6 because it's nice and easy to travel around with. But in terms of the office environment that I'd use it in, it's probably not that great. And remember, this is work score, guys. This is where you take it to your job with you. So scores based on taking it to your job with you. Okay. Vogon says 6. Pilot says 7. James says lighter than I'd have guessed. It is, yes. 6.5% good size, but I wouldn't be productive on a 60. Yeah, that's kind of my thinking as well, where I've gone with the 6. Makungo says 6.5. Tenshong says a 6 as well. I'm avoiding the factoring in that its factor is 60%, which is too small for me. No, you should factor that in, Vespine. You should factor that in, absolutely. A couple more 6s, a couple of 7s. I would be so worried about the bottom weight. That's true. Is Top Clack my full-time job? Gosh, no. Gosh, no. Top Clack is twice a week streaming, man. There is no way this would pay my full-time salary. I open and honest moment here, I earn about $220 a month from doing Top Clack, which doesn't even buy one of the boards I build every month, so that's it. So yeah, so there we go. I think you guys are probably a little bit higher than me overall. I think you guys are probably close to a 6.5, 7-ish overall. Let's go for a 7. I think you guys are probably closer to a 7 on that one. Office acceptance is up now, guys. So again, scores out of 10. If this was on your desk, is it going to draw unwanted attention? Is it going to fit into your workflow? Are people going to notice it? Is it going to be accepted in the office, or are you going to have, you know, some irate IT manager coming down and wagging the finger in your face and stuff like that? Let me know how acceptable in the office this board is, guys. Give me a score out of 10. 10. No one's going to notice it particularly. It's going to be fine in the office. It's going to be accepted. It's not going to be too loud. It's not going to be too unusual. Give me a score, guys. Give me a score. Rich on $20 a month. Yeah, right. Okay. Couple of 5s, couple of 4s, couple of 6s, a 7 from Pilot XJ. The colour is out there. That's very true. The colour does stand out. It's very much a dusty salmon is the Velvet this time around. A couple of 5s and 6s. I think for me, I think in terms of office acceptance, is probably a 6 overall. I'm kind of middle of the road with it. So yeah. Okay, so accept or not, I'm still going to bring it to it. Well, that's fine. I'm not saying it wouldn't stop you taking it. I'm just, you know, how impactful would that be? So I think overall you guys are probably a little bit lower than me on this one. I think there's too many 4s for it not to be. So I think we're going to go with a 5.5 on that one, a little bit lower than me. Okay, last one then, guys. This is for noise, and this is the volume level, so the noise level, how loud it is. Is this going to be too loud? I've got some music on in the background, you can hear me talking, but if I do this, is that going to be too loud in the office? How do you feel about that? Is it too loud? So low score is bad, a high score is good. So high score would be silent, you can't hear anything. Give me a low score if you think it's overly loud, if it's too distracting. I think it's worse than clickies. I think it's worse than clickies. I'm going to give it a 2. 2 for the noise level from a web perspective. Okay, right, okay. Let's see what you guys are saying. 10 Strong says 2 as well. Kakan goes 9.9. 10's a good score, 1's a bad score. Kakan, I think you've got the scale on the wrong way round on this one. For James says it's distracting. A couple of 3s, a couple more 4s, a couple of 3s. They'd kill me if I had this in the office. Exactly, yeah. 4.5, it's pretty high pitched. Bring out the beam spring, yeah. It's going to make some people go crazy for sure. They would be worried of me typing so much means problems. Yeah, you're doing more work than normal, yeah. A 5 and a 2. So you guys are a little bit higher than me. There's a couple of 4s in there, quite a few 3s. I'm going to go 3.5 from your guys' perspective, because I think that's probably fair, because there's some 5s in there too. And Kakan's 9.9. I'm just going to ignore that. Sorry, dude, but that is way off the scale. If you think that's nearly a 10, then we need to have some words. Let's put it that way. Okay, so that is the J score completed. This all works out automatically, so we've given it 73% and an 80% between myself and community score, respectively, for the build score. We've given it a 68% from me and a 73% from you guys in terms of the home score. And in terms of the work score, it's got a 47% from me and a 53% from you guys. So you guys seem to be giving it higher scores than I am overall. So you guys, you know, it's much more of a valid opinion when more people are giving input into it than just one person, so it's a little bit more representative. And let's see where that puts it out. So that puts it out to an 83.5 from me, or a 91 from you, or 64% from me, and a 70% community score. 70% is pretty good, 70% is pretty high, 64% is pretty low. I'm going to be lying. And that means I give it a C, so it's not a fail, it's a C, and you guys are giving it a B score. So there we go, guys. The Unicorn gets a community score of a B and a J score of a C. So there we go. The last thing I need to do is give it a hot take. And my hot take is from this is clickies sound better than this. So I hope it's about the clickies right. There we go. Yeah. Hurts in the feels. Time for a rebuild with silent switches. Yeah, I've got another couple of plates and another PCB I can do as a different build with. Feels great. Sounds shit. Sorry, terms of service Twitch, but it sounds terrible. This is what inks on a carbon fibre plate should sound like. I'm sorry, but this is what they should sound like. Not like this. That's just pure sex, right? Just pure sex. This is... yeah. Anyway. There we go, guys. That's the J-score done. There we go. Unicorn build stream done. Get the logo the right way around. Unicorn build stream done. I think the board looks great. I think it's fantastic colour. I need to do some infill on this logo to match the beige keycaps at some point soon, and I will do that. But sadly, clickies do sound better than this board. Let me get rid of the J-score now. That's all saved in the cloud. You can find that by doing !J-score if you ever want to go back and look at the spreadsheet itself. So feel free to go and do that whenever you like. That has all of the boards with a J-score on there, and you can take a look yourself. Right, okay, so without much further ado, it's time for us to close down the stream in a few minutes. If you've got any final question, guys, do ask them now. Tag me at TopClack so I definitely see them. Just a few notes as well. So I'll be back on Thursday with the normal standard stream with Brian. So we'll be doing our normal news stream on Thursday. Hopefully Brian will be back this week and feeling better and raring to go. I know his back's been causing him problems, but he seems better already, so fingers crossed on that one. Next weekend I'll be back and I'll be building either my PC canoe or I'll be building the Honeyboard 60. The PC canoe will come first if that arrives first, but then the Honeyboard will be January. Next week's build stream is the last one I'll be doing of this year. There won't be any more until January after that. The J01 chat raffle tickets are still on sale. You can get them on Novel Keys, $5 a piece. All go to a great cause. So please do check them out and see if you can spare $5 at this time of year for a really good cause. It's going to Sue Ryder charity. All of the proceeds will go straight there. We've sold 1,660 odd tickets so far. I'm hoping to hit 2,000. Calendars are for sale on my website, prototypist.net. And you can buy the calendars for 2020 on there. It's pre-order, and hopefully I'll have them shipped out first couple of weeks in January once production is complete. Finally, guys, the only other thing I wanted to tell you about is the J01 raffle board, the high bid board. So another one of these beauties will be for sale in January to the highest bidder. Again, that's going to go to charity, yeah, it's the only left remaining A stock board. So you can see it's got this lovely brass mid piece. If my camera decides to focus this high up, come on, focus, camera. There we go. They've got this lovely brass mid piece. All of black, central USB-C, high bid board is going to be up for sale in January, and whoever bids the most gets the board, and as you can tell, it sounds great. This is the keyboard that doesn't have the grey enter. Yeah, I do have the grey enter now, I just haven't changed it up yet because the board's been took to one side, but yes. So there we go. How much for a meteorite mid piece? $1 million. If you give me $1 million, I will give you a meteorite mid piece. But that's it for the stream. JO2 news coming soon as well, actually. In fact, I'll give you a leak now on the JO2. So the JO2 is running in February. That's already being known. I have made some changes after some popular feedback. So the two colours that are going to be running the group buy for the standard edition will be brass pen rail and brass mid, very much like the JO1 here. So you have the brass pen rail, which is magnet mounted. So you can see that's held in place by magnets. And you'll have the brass mid, and you'll be able to get that in black like this, so black and brass, or you will be able to get that in like a dark grey and brass as well. So those will be the two colours that run in the group buy. Dark grey, almost silvery, dark silvery grey, and brass or black and brass will be two colours in the group buy for the standard edition. And then the limited edition has changed from space grey to e-white and copper. So the limited edition, which there's only going to be a very small amount of, is going to be in e-white and copper. Now that will be a lot more expensive and it'll be very much a production value board, but yeah, that will be in e-white and copper. So still not quite certain how many of those there's going to be, probably 10 or 15 only. The price will be significantly higher, but yeah, there we go. And as I said, that's going to run in February. Prices should be announced first week in January, and next week I will be announcing the actual dates. So next week I'll announce the dates, and then first week back in January I'll announce all of the prices for the boards, and then the group buy starts in February. So there we go, guys. Right, okay, that is with it. Is limited edition going to be a raffle? To be confirmed. I don't know yet. Not sure yet. It won't be a 1K. It won't be far off it, but it won't be a K. A couple of questions that we need to get through just before we finish. Tuxkey says, if you could only buy one set, GMK Olivia Dark versus Light Kit. I know you have the Light Kit and are getting the Dark one, but still your thoughts are appreciated. If I had neither, I would buy the Light Kit, purely because it will go on more boards than the Dark Kit would do. Lubed Helios says, why is the Cypher not in there? I just haven't got round to J-scoring it yet. So what we've tried to do is J-score 2 boards each week. Didn't have time for that this week, so we're doing every board that we build. I am going to be doing a rebuild of the Cypher soon, so when I do the rebuild, that's when that one will go into the J-score. Final question from Mike Kungo. He says, so this stream shows that getting a CF plate for any board doesn't automatically make it better in all areas. What should we consider when we decide to get a CF plate for a specific board? It all depends on your switches and the case. More sound comes from the case and the switches than anything else. So what I found is when you put a carbon fibre plate in there, is you are getting something that's fairly firm but forgiving in terms of the typing feel, and it emphasises what the actual board sounds like. So it gives you a clearer understanding of what the board sounds like. If you put brass in stuff and aluminium in stuff, you hear a lot of case resonance and ping because the metals transfer that across a lot of the time. So carbon fibre will drag out the inherently good or bad sound qualities of any board. If it sounds great already with an aluminium and brass plate, it's going to sound better with carbon fibre in my experience. If it doesn't sound so great with aluminium and brass, then it's going to sound worse with carbon fibre. So that's what you need to look at. Okay, so that's it. What are you going to do with the Cypher? So I'm going to be doing a PC plate with olive switches, Mike's olive cream switches, and probably Everglide stabilizers. So there we go. So there we go, guys. Thank you very much for the stream. Really enjoyed doing that one with you guys. Yeah, I'll see you again on Thursday. But thank you very much for watching. And Dixie, welcome to the stream, man. But we're just about to close it up. But good night. Thanks very much, guys. I'll see you later.